Today's edition of Sacramento and Company. But first, let's take a look at today's school's financial credit union word of the day. Today's word is irenic. Irenic. We'll reveal the meaning of irenic a little bit later on in the hour. The importance of drafting a will or estate plan is a subject that may be difficult for some families to discuss, but it's necessary to ensure that a loved one's wishes are carried out after they pass on, or if they become incapacitated and can no longer make sound decisions. The Family Wealth Law Group can help families create an estate plan now to help ease the stress and emotional turmoil that many families face during the grieving process. And here to share more about family estate planning are attorneys Cecilia Sang and Eric Sayer with the Family Wealth Law Group. Welcome back to the show, you guys.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you for coming in. Okay, so why should people be concerned about being incapacitated?
Well, most of the phone calls we get in the office nowadays are unfortunately emergency situations where adult children are calling because something has happened with mom or dad. They need help paying their bills, managing finances, dealing with healthcare decisions, and simply don't know where to turn.
So what documents should individuals have in place to deal with incapacity?
Well, it's really important to have the documents in place ahead of time. Things such as powers of attorney for managing finances and, of course, advanced healthcare directives for dealing with healthcare and medical issues. Without having those proper documents in place ahead of time, then our options are very limited as far as what we can do once an individual loses the capacity to assign those powers or execute those documents.
Well, like they always say, you can't really plan for the future. I mean, we try and plan our lives, and then they say God laughs from above. Right. Anything can happen. So what happens if those documents are not in place?
Well, if you're not able to get them done before a crisis comes up, like a financial crisis or medical crisis, there's really no other option than, you have to turn to the courts. And you really don't want to have to do that if you can avoid it. And by having those documents in place, the powers of attorney, most of the time that can be avoided.
Yeah, and being through this myself when both of my parents passed on, thank goodness that they planned their estates, and it made it much easier for me because there is the grieving process, and when you're going through the grieving process, you don't want to have to deal with this as well. What needs to be done to settle someone's affairs when they do pass on?
Well, there are many things that need to be done. It can be very overwhelming, especially when you're going through the grieving process, losing a family member, a loved one. Basically, you look at the estate planning documents, to see what they left, what instructions, what they wanted done. You have to look at what the assets were and pay debts and deal with tax matters. There's a lot of things that need to be done.
Can that also extend to what they want for their funeral as well?
Absolutely. One of the things that we recommend that people do when they do their estate plans is to do pre-need planning, or if they haven't done planning, there are people that can help them at need, is what they call that. And we can also help guide clients through that process because we know quite a bit about it too.
And I found the things that you may not think are going to be a big deal down the line suddenly become a big deal, possibly to other family members. My mother had always planned to be buried, and then at the last minute had told me that she wanted to be cremated. And so when I followed her wishes, I had family members who came forward and weren't too happy with that. So to get that spelled out and put into a legal document, can help,
tremendously.
Yeah, tremendously down the line. So does every estate have to go through court to be administered?
No. First, when someone passes away, you look to see what estate planning documents did they leave behind. If they did a revocable trust, often court can be completely avoided with proper planning, and that's what we try to do for our clients. But even if you didn't have a trust, not every estate needs to go through the court process. There's certain things that you can do to pass on the assets and do the things that need to be done out of court if you fit certain requirements. And if I can keep someone that comes to me that's going through this process out of court, that's one of my big goals.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah. So how does your firm help family of those left behind?
Well
when the loved one passes away?
Well, we actually work as a team. So if they have good planning in place and they're an existing client of ours, it makes the transition period much easier. We're already familiar with the family, with the assets, with the issues, and we're able to really help guide them. And then Eric will use whatever procedure is available at the time based on their documents to help them with the transition period.
Yeah, we really try and guide them through it as quickly and as stress-free as possible, and let them focus on their family.
Yeah.
And take away as much of the burden of dealing with the legal issues as possible.
Yeah.
Because there are many.
And give them peace of mind.
Yes.
Too, which means a lot. All right. Thank you, guys. Where can we get a hold of you?
Number of ways on our website at familywealthlawgroup.com, or anybody's welcome to call with questions or for a complimentary consultation at 800-818-3954.
All right. Cecilia Sang and Eric Sayer with Family Wealth Law Group. Thank you for coming on the show and answering those tough questions, too.
Thanks for having us.
us.
We appreciate it. All right, well, coming up, we're going to take a look at the many ways that communication differs from generation to generation and how this is changing our workplace. And more from singer Virginia Ayers Dawson. Enjoy, and we'll be right back.
Fly me to